Joining me right now is trial attorney John Fishwick, former U.S. attorney for the Western District of Virginia. John, that was a mouthful. I mean, this is such a complex case with much nuance. The Justice Department wants Mayor Adams' case completely dismissed without prejudice. Let's tell people watching at home, what does that mean?
Well, I think we've got a kind of a showdown at the OK Corral within the Department of Justice. So ML Beauvais, who's the #2 in DOJ, says, dismiss the charges. That's an order. You'd be insubordinate if you don't. We think that Mayor Adams needs to work with the current administration on immigration. And so we're going to dismiss the charges now, and I'm ordering you to do that. Danielle Sansoon, the acting U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York, which has always been known for his independence, says not so fast. And she's no woke prosecutor. She clerked for Justice Scalia. She says, I'm not going to do it. I think it's improper. We had other evidence we were going to bring against the mayor of obstruction of justice and interfering with our investigation. And besides, you're saying you're dismissing the charges because he's cooperating with the current administration on immigration. That's not a reason to dismiss charges. So if you're going to make me do that, I'm not going to do it, and I'm stepping down. So there's chaos now in the case. It's a bad day for Mayor Adams because I don't think the charges against him are going to be dismissed anytime soon. I would expect the judge in the case, Judge Ho, is going to have a hearing, and he's going to look into all of these flurry of allegations within the Department of Justice.
And in New York, Manhattan prides itself in being, the sovereign district, as you mentioned, acting independently of federal meddling, I guess, if you want to say that. But would not the DOJ have more strength in this situation, more to say over what happens in New York and with this mayor?
Yeah, that's what Mr. Bove says. He says, look, I'm the #2 in the Department of Justice right now, and you're a subordinate of mine. All the U.S. attorney's offices, the 93 U.S. attorney's offices, include the most important one, the Southern District of New York. You report to me. And if I give you an order, just like in any business, but in government, if I give you an instruction, you got to do it. And Pam Bondi has said that, too. They're not going to tolerate folks not taking instructions. And so he says, look, this is the instruction. Go to court and dismiss that case. And Ms. Sassoon said, I'm not going to do that, and so she resigned.
She resigned in protest, but again, this case has been in the news for months now, and it's been, President Trump even saying he wasn't being treated fairly. How strong is the case against him? I mean, does this amount to a bunch of, expensive airline upgrades on business tickets from New York to Turkey?
Well, President Trump says, I'm sympathetic to your case. This was a political prosecution. It doesn't amount to a lot. This was politics. You were helping a constituent who asked you to do something about the consulate there and to get the building built faster. And so it shouldn't be a political prosecution and shouldn't be a criminal prosecution. I guess the prosecutors in the case say, hey, look, we've also got that, but he's interfered with the investigation. He's encouraged others to lie. That's very serious. And when Mr. Bove said dismiss the charges, he didn't say the charges were weak, that they never should have been brought. He said, that he needs to work on immigration and that there were some things that were done in the case that weren't proper, that they interfered with the election. But he never said the charges shouldn't have been brought. And so that's why I think there's a standoff here. The main justice is not saying this was a weak case, shouldn't have been brought. I think some folks thought that at the time, but nonetheless, based on what Ms. Sassoon said yesterday in her letter when she resigned, she says, we're about to bring other charges. This is a corrupt politician.
So in your estimation, this was just a pause by the DOJ in this case, and that eventually there would be a trial? This is just to allow for the process of immigration enforcement to continue?
No, I think the charges were on a fast track to be dismissed. I think when Bove gave the instruction to dismiss them, they were going to get dismissed. That was the decision that had been made. And so I think he was going to cooperate. He obviously is cooperating on the immigration. So I think the charges were going to be dismissed. Technically, they said we'll dismiss it without prejudice. In the weeds of the lawyer business, that means that they could be brought back. But I don't think they were going to be brought back. I do think now there's turmoil here. And so what happens with the charges? I think ultimately, I know DOJ said they're going to have their folks look into it, but I think the big hammer here now will be the judge. What's he going to do? Somebody's going to file, either today or Monday, a motion to dismiss these charges. They'll get someone who can do that. After all, Mr. Bove could do that if he can't get somebody to do it. But what's the judge going to do this? We've got kind of these two sides within the Department of Justice, going at each other in a pretty aggressive way. One saying, follow my orders. The other saying, your order is improper. So the judge is going to look into this, and where the ball ends up landing, time will tell.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.